This is a Suzuki Cappuccino. If you've never seen one of these, I don't blame you. They just became legal in the United States and they are a hoot. It is similar to something like the Honda Beat, where you got a tax break for driving it due to just how low the displacement of the engine was. However, the Suzuki Cappuccino was different because it had a turbocharger. So what happens when you take this little tiny car and fully build it with every modification you could possibly imagine? What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Today we are in something I could not be more excited to talk about. This is a 1991 Suzuki Cappuccino, and if you don't know what the Cappuccino is, that's okay. They weren't here in the United States. The thing about the Cappuccino is that it's in the key car or K car. I always get it wrong, but whatever you want to call it, it was in that class in Japan. So what that was that super low displacement engines, and therefore low displacement, therefore better gas mileage, therefore you got a tax cut in Japan for driving one of these. They're small, they're economical, and the same cars are like the Honda Beat, stuff like that, the AutoZam, they're all kind of in that realm. Just for reference, how much gas does this save? It has a 5-gallon tank. 5 gallons, not 8, not 10, not 12, 5 gallons. So pretty similar to like a motorcycle, which is pretty impressive. And also there's this little light that comes on when the turbo starts pulling up, and it just lights up green. And in my peripheral vision, I was thinking I hit my blinker on or something by accident, but no, it's just letting you know that the turbo is kind of ready to spool up and get going and make full power. It's pretty neat. It's so weird. So that was 11,000 RPM. So how am I able to get to 11,000 RPM in this thing? The reasoning is because this has a built motor. This has a built motor and a built head and cams and injectors, everything. It has an upgraded turbo in a Cappuccino. The Cappuccino, if you've never seen one, it is so small. You put it in a parking spot, and if you were to park it next to, say, an F-150, you would just laugh. It doesn't even make it to the end of the truck bed. Getting in is interesting. Getting in, you gotta have to like turn your butt and then just fall into the car and hope that you don't hit your head on the top. These are Targas essentially. You can take the top off, but then you have absolutely no space in the trunk, and it has barely a trunk anyway. So behind me is the Cappuccino. This is the man with the plan who brought me the Cappuccino. He's gonna show us how the teardown process works.
So this is one of the only cars that is hardtop, T-top, Targa top, convertible, and I will show you how all that happened. Clips inside for every single one of these individual panels, like a traditional convertible. So this would be your first panel coming off.
Okay,
Panel
T-top.
number 2.
A T-top Cappuccino.
I'm not really sure what the overall purpose of allowing you to have like the T-top mode, because surely this does absolutely nothing to prevent any type of rollover incidents or anything like that, but
then bam, so, now you're full Targa.
Now we're in full Targa. You can probably see there's a lever with an emergency release button.
Yeah.
So then this comes over and this gets pulled up, and then...
What? I didn't even know it was gonna do that.
Wham! Now it is a full convertible.
So these were made in Japan. They're extremely popular in Japan, and then they started to show up in the United States. The Honda Beat, in comparison, is naturally aspirated. This is turbocharged, so that makes it a little bit more fun, in my opinion. And is it fun having a naturally aspirated motor that revs to 9,000 RPM? Of course it is, but the Cappuccino, especially with a built motor, it just really is interesting because you can go all the way in it, all the time. It's gonna hook up, and it's rear-wheel drive, which is really gnarly. I'm sitting in a Bride seat, and believe it or not, it has basically seat cushions from a Japanese household under me, helping me out. But you can definitely see that this was not designed for tall people. It just goes and goes and goes. small engine. It's 660 cc's. So you're under 1 liter displacement, which is incredible that we're able to move along that much and not have to worry about anything, right? You don't have as much bottom end torque as, you know, something with over a liter of displacement, but for the most part, it's not too bad. The only thing is that it has a first gear lockout. So once you're already moving, you can't go back into first gear while you're moving. So you gotta find that sweet spot in second or third gear while you're rolling. The key is keep your momentum going. That's how you keep it going, and it's fun. With it being such a small engine, I honestly thought it was gonna sound like crap. You know, I thought it was gonna sound like a raspy bike motor, essentially. You do, there's the diff. It has some kind of locking differential in it. So when you take a corner or you're doing a U-turn, which by the way, this has amazing turning radius because it's so small. But when you pop the hood, the motor is tiny. It's very, very small. But at the same time, the turbo is about as big as the palm of my hand, if not smaller. It's absolutely hysterical if you're able to see it. And at the same time, it also explains why it has the torque that it does have. Now, I know you're probably wondering, man, this thing's gotta make like crazy horsepower to have a built motor, right? No, displacement, in this case, yeah, there is no replacement, but at the same time, it's impressive for what it does. So essentially, with the built head, the built motor, the valve train, the cams, which by the way, this thing lopes when you're stopped. It lopes like an Evo or something going blah, 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 blah. It's really interesting, but it makes 100 wheel horsepower. 100 wheel, which doesn't sound like a lot, but hear me out. You're in a 1,200 pound car and you can just cruise around a corner with utter confidence. Now, another thing too is the tire sizes. The tire size, you would think, isn't that gonna be a big pain in the butt to find? Well, somewhat, but the older gen Civics have essentially the same tire size, so it's not a big issue. It's not like a classic Mini where you're really hunting for wheels and tires when they're just this itty bitty, like bicycle tires, essentially. When you sit in this car, it feels like a race car now. It has full coilovers on it. It's got a real wing on the back with downforce. It's got a single exit exhaust on it, which doesn't sound bad. It has basically a blow-off valve. You can hear the wastegate and everything working when you let off the car. But it does have that vibe of a Miata, and a lot of people say that the Cappuccino is what the Miata kind of should have been when it came out, because even though it has the handling of a Miata, it's even smaller than a Miata, which is crazy. You park next to an NA Miata and it's smaller, and at the same time it has a turbo on it. So a turbo Miata could very much feel a lot like this, but even lighter. So that's the benefit of it. Okay, so fun fact, the shifter is a 5-speed, but right next to the shifter is your window control. So it's like a European car where it's right here, and you go over here reaching all the time trying to find where the window is. Truth is, it was not there in the first place. See, there's nothing, nothing, nothing. I still had 4,000 RPM to go there. All right, let's see what she's got. 8,000, 9,000. I still had 200 RPM left. It's not one of those cars where you're like, oh my gosh, 1,200 pounds, that has to be like really scary to drive because it's so light. Well, no, it's the opposite. Taking out weight makes it easier to drive because it handles so well, and that's what's so neat about it. My steering wheel was shaking. I call them like the no worries car, right? Sure, it's not a zillion horsepower, but you don't have to worry about spinning. You don't have to worry about all those other variables in a really, really, really fast car. You just enjoy the driving experience because you turn the wheel, that's where it's gonna go, and you just mat it. Back there on that corner, I didn't touch the brakes, not one time. It was all the way in it all the time, and that's what makes it fun. And the gearing in third is so long. I can use it at any time. I think that's what's pretty nuts about third gear in particular. It's a magical gear in this car, because say you're on a mountain road or a back road, you could just stay in third. You don't need to keep shifting around at all times. I mean, even if I downshift right now to third gear, I'm still only at 6,000 RPM out of 11,000 RPM. Still going, still going, still going, still going, still going, still going, still going. I have 1,000 left and I'm already going way too fast. Been in fifth. You know, imagine you're not spending a lot of gas on this thing anytime soon, even with a turbocharger. It's wild. Beautiful. Wow, that was impressive. Okay, so when it comes to the key cars, I'm gonna have to say it, I like the Cappuccino a little bit more than the Beat. And that isn't because I hate the Beat or something. No, I think this one's just a little bit more fun. But also, I didn't mention that this thing has $12,000 worth of upgrades in it when it was in Japan. So I can't really say too much. But at the same time, what an incredible driving experience. And I had an amazing time. If you're interested in a car like this, definitely make sure to check out Got-Zilla. They have a ton of cars like this, and they're slowly but surely advertising and getting more key cars and really fun, quirky JDM cars here to the United States. So if you're interested, I'll put the link down in the description. They did an amazing job, and huge thanks to them for letting me drive one of their babies, because they love this thing. So huge thanks to them once again, and I will see you guys next time. I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye!